Welcome back to another episode of Talk About Films. Today we're talking about Cabin in the Woods, 2011, directed by Drew Goddard, written by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon. Drew Goddard actually, the only other directing credit I could find was Bad Times at El Royale, which is a fantastic movie. Sorry if we're really not uppity right now. This is our second take of this. So we're going to be talking about this twice tonight. Twice.
Right. It's important to note that it was Zach's fault, so it's all good.
It was the audio. It was this lapel mic. Get a close up of this piece. Don't buy these lapel. Let me actually make sure it's still recording.
Easy to blame objects.
Look at that. We still have waveform.
It looks like waveform, but looks can be deceiving. Third take, incoming.
Don't you fucking curse it. And speaking of curses, what a great segue. What's this movie about, Alex? Very first scene of the movie.
Very first scene of the movie, we see very sterilized office with scientific shit, right?
Scientist 1, Scientist 2.
Scientist 1, Scientist 2. Good characters, I love them.
Don't know their names.
Setting up this very mysterious kind of, almost looks like an experiment or something. And then, boom, what do we cut to?
What's that? Is that the 5 kids we were talking about?
Not 4, but
5.
5.
5 college kids, all specific archetypes in horror movies. We've got the jock, we've got the stoner, we've got the slut, not slut shaming, but that's what they call her. Okay. I didn't do it.
Their words, not ours.
They've got the bookworm and we've got the virgin.
But they didn't start like that, though, huh?
They didn't. In fact, as we progress in the movie, they start filling in those archetype roles, unbeknownst to them.
A little helping hand with that, huh?
They slowly start sinking in, all due to this, what was it, the scientific process that we don't really know about.
Right, but what are these scientists doing? What are these kids doing?
Hey,
what's going on?
It all revolves around the cabin in the woods. That's right, I said the title of the movie.
Titled the movie in the movie.
So these 5 kids actually go to a cabin in the woods, but before they get there, they stop at a gas station. And that might be one of my favorite parts of the movie, where we get introduced to the Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
I love that fucking scene. That was great. We actually didn't talk about that last time, so it's good that we're coming back to this. We get to introduce to the Harbinger, who's the gas station owner, who is just like the goofiest, like the most stereotypical, like, y'all better turn back the way you came.
Around your way you came.
What'd you say?
I think we got enough gas.
You got enough to get you there. Getting back. That's your concern.
And I love it. It's so good. He's the omen that sets the tone for the rest of the film. They finally get out to the cabin in the woods. We finally get to see these characters start turning into those weird archetypes that we were talking about.
We don't into those roles.
We don't understand. We've got Chris Hemsworth's in this movie. He is supposed to be the big jock, but turns out he's kind of a smart jock.
Sociology major.
Yeah,
right?
Sociology major. But then he starts turning into like a really stupid, dumb jock. At one point, he just has a football in his hand for like no reason. I think you called that out.
Right. If you forgot, Chris is the jock.
He is. Yeah, and then he gets a varsity jacket on, like out of nowhere, and it's so perfect. I love it. So we get introduced to these 5 characters that out in the cabin in the woods, and then slowly, we keep going back between these 5 characters and the scientists. Right. And we're like, what's going on? What's going on?
It seems like, and we'll call back here, like these scientists are puppeteering these kids.
Yeah, the theme of the movie, puppeteering.
Puppeteering.
So we have this kind of, the twist of the movie is that there is a ritual where you have to sacrifice these specific archetypes
in a certain order, right?
And the rules of the movie are very weird, and I think that's like why I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this movie or the story of this movie. I love the movie, but the story of the movie is just so weird and kind of grasped for a lot of straws. But you kind of forgive it because the writing is so good. Mm-hmm. But the main thing that's going on in this movie is these scientists in this facility under this cabin in the woods. They're trying to sacrifice these characters in a certain order to the old gods. Because if you don't do that, then the end of the world is going to happen. Very
Right.
reaching there.
And then they kind of have like this little subplot where, you know, America has their own cabin in the woods,
Exactly,
and then
yeah.
there's other cabins.
Well, like they showed
Japan, a good scene.
Yeah, they showed Japan, and it's like these schoolgirls trying to
Kill
get
like the
away-
ring, like the ring
Yeah.
monster.
They're like trying to, or it's like the Grudge, like they're trying to
Yeah.
get away from like this like this siren ghost or this banshee ghost or whatever. Very, very Japanese-esque. And then we get to see that they're getting rid of the ghost, like with this seance thing, and then put the spirit into a frog, which is fucking hilarious. I
It's
love
very,
it.
it's very kawaii, actually.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure
Don't want to hit that third take.
we're good.
I'm gonna check that volume.
Still recording.
All right, so he says, we'll find out.
The culmination of the movie ends up where the destruction of the world, basically. We get to see the characters each get killed off one by one, up until, you know, the weed smoker, the fool, turns out to be alive the whole time and helps the virgin get into the facility underneath the cabin.
Right. Well, actually, that's a good thing you brought that up, because there's a big theme about weed in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Weed seems
Very
to be the
subtle.
savior. If you want to survive a horror movie, smoke tons of weed, kids. Don't do that. I shouldn't.
Film faction approved.
Don't. If you want to survive a horror movie, smoke a lot of weed. There it is. That's the theme of the movie.
That's right.
So let's talk about the themes of the movie. Speaking of, why Cabin in the Woods? You know, why? Well, we see.
It's a big callback,
Well,
right?
let's just
What
say,
a
I think the whole Cabin in the Woods thing, and like we can even see from the Japan thing, it's like the most American horror movie ever, like scenario ever. The movie isn't necessarily about. It's more about these nations having their own horror scenarios, you know? So we have the Cabin in the Woods. It's like so Evil Dead, so Friday the 13th. We even get that low angle push in shot of the cabin that you see identical to Evil Dead. And, you know, and it's all fitting in with the story. I mean, it's just so perfectly intertwined. Love it. But then, you know, we get to go underneath the cabin in the woods, and we get to see all those monsters that they have down there. The reason there's so many different monsters is because they have the rule, or one of the rules of the movie is that they have to choose their death, basically.
Right. The sacrifices have to be their own unmaking.
Exactly.
Right?
So we get to see them go underneath the cellar, or go in the cellar underneath the cabin, and they have all these objects, you know, like all these callbacks to other movies. You've got the puzzle sphere instead of the puzzle cube, like in Hellraiser.
Right.
Chris Hemsworth playing with that. You've got like the bride's dress,
Looking at
the
that
conch.
pendant, right. The ballerina, the music box, right?
Yeah, you got the zombie torture murder family's diary, which they end up choosing.
Right, that's the one they choose.
Thus being the antagonist of the first half of the movie.
Right. So when they choose an object, right, that's when the scientists send that monster into the elevators underneath the cabin,
Exactly.
and then poof.
What the scientists didn't expect is the characters, or the archetypes, to actually get into the facility and see all the monsters, which we do get to see all the monsters, which is probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie, is where we get into that elevator and you see all the monsters that these scientists have collected, or, you know, have sent out to kill people, and it's great. We get to see like a Left 4 Dead boomer. We get to see Sawhead, which is pretty much Pinhead.
Yeah, not Pinhead.
Not
Trademark, not Pinhead.
what else do you get to see?
Changeling, just classic werewolf, right?
Or you get to see the
Ghosty.
You get to see pretty much Pennywise, but like more of a
old school Pennywise.
like a slasher Pennywise,
Right.
which is pretty cool. Let's talk about the deaths in this movie, because they have some really cool death scenes.
Not only do they have some cool death scenes, there's a lot of death scenes.
There is a lot. The body count in this movie is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
Everyone dies. Everyone dies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Well, technically, we don't see the on-screen deaths of our fool and our virgin.
But they die.
Well, they're dead.
They're 100% dead. So let's go through some of the kills here. Let's start with the one to start off all the amazing killings, and that's Chris Hemsworth. There's a 5-foot differential. I love that. I love that line.
So what ends up happening is that they can't leave the way they came in because there's a rock slide,
Yeah,
right?
you're correct. There's a cave in, you know.
But man, there's a ravine that's on the other side of that.
It's just right there.
So Chris Hemsworth, he's got his bike on.
got his dirt
Wouldn't
bike.
you know it? And he's made bigger jumps than that.
He's made definitely bigger.
The nerd calculated it.
5 foot differential.
5 foot differential.
He's got to give it his all.
He's got to give it his all. But so he hits that jump, right?
Yeah.
And oh man, the music is swelling. We know what's going to happen, but somewhere
He hit something else.
we believed in him for some reason.
No, we did. We knew it was
But
coming.
he hit that wall.
And it is the goofiest shit you will ever see. He just tumbles down that wall and it lights up every time he hits it, and it is hysterical. What's another good death scene? The unicorn stabbing the dude in the gut
Right.
like 5 times. Yeah, there's a unicorn in this movie.
Of course, the merman.
Merman. Funny thing about that merman.
You were talking about
Yeah.
this.
There's actually, I think I saw behind the scenes of the merman scene, and it was like maybe the last day of shooting, like one of the last things they were gonna do. We're like, let's just do a merman bit. We've got the suit, you know. Let's have it, you know, eviscerate like one of the main characters. We got all this blood. Let's just use the rest of the blood.
It's a perfect bit.
So they do like this. They like tie the like a hose into the merman, and they expect, you know, like a little bit of blood to come out. It turns out like a fucking blood geyser comes out of this thing, and that's what you see in the movie is their accidental blood geyser that they created,
Right,
which is
well,
pretty funny.
The blood budget was tip top.
Oh yeah, special effects were great. A lot of CG, but hey, it was pretty good. Other than the van, when the van goes in the water, it's very goofy.
Yeah, a little jarring, but you know, fans are not a dime a dozen. So
James, is that you?
Nope.
James, what did you think of this movie?
It's good.
It's good.
all right, that's it. Official review by James. See you guys next time. Take it away, Zach.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about the writing in this film. Like, I don't particularly care for the story. Like, I like the story. I think it's so ridiculous at the end. I get it. I know they're doing it for ridiculous purposes.
It's a good story. Come on.
But the writing, the dialogue is so. It's just this movie is infinitely quotable, and I love it.
I'm actually rooting for this girl. She's got so much heart. You think of all the pain and the... Tequila is my lady! My lady! Come on in!
What's your favorite line of the movie?
My favorite line. Good job, Zombie Arm.
Good job, Zombie Arm.
Well, I feel like the writing kind of lends itself to like this big theme of, you know, it's like this comedy movie with just the right amount of horror just
horror
sprinkled on top, right?
Yeah, and I like it a lot.
It's fun. It's a fun film,
It
right?
is a fun film. It's good. I like it. But you know who else may or may not like it?
The only opinion that really matters, right?
Yeah, our resident film reviewer, and we should probably toss it on over to him. Let him take it away.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and do that, everybody. Thanks for watching, and you know, maybe leave a like or a comment and suggest us watching something else. You know, we'd love to review any movies you guys have in mind.
Please be horror. We like horror a lot. Oh, I like horror a lot.
Yeah, we'll do whatever you want. That guy's stupid.
Oh, why, good morning. I am Tobias J. Farrago. Today, we will be reviewing what is known as the masterpiece, The Cabin in the Woods. A beautiful piece starring Liam Neeson visiting a cabin in the woods. He retires there after a long, laborious adventure in the oil field. Is that the movie?
Wrong movie.
I do believe I did not watch that. The Cabin in the Woods. I did not watch that movie. Another time, I give it a 3 out of 4. Let's finish this game here. Checkmate.